You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
Welcome back, everyone, to more of the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou. It's a Monday, April 25th, 2022, and today we are just now, 4 days away from the 2022 NFL Draft, and I'm coming at you with another preview today, and this time we are talking the Minnesota Vikings and who I would like to see them go after in this year's NFL Draft. We're talking 3 players that they could be going after and targeting with the picks that they have. So, my Vikings fans, make sure you comment down below. Who do you want to see this team go after in the draft? Make sure you hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you want to help support the channel. And let's get into the discussion, shall we? So, how we do these, if you have not watched one before, we start with day 3, then we'll do a day 2 pick, and then we'll cap things off with their pick at number 12 in the first round. So, starting with number 3, we have ourselves a pick that goes into the secondary here. I'm going to tell you guys right now, so this will kind of spoil things a little bit. All I did was defense for the Vikings because I like what they have on offense, and this is not to say that they're not going to draft any offensive players. I myself, though, with the 3 picks that I'm discussing here, I was focused specifically on the defense because the back end of this Vikings team needs some help. Going into last season, I talked at length about the secondary and the inability to stop the pass. I was berated by Vikings fans in a couple of my videos about it because they all thought that the secondary was going to be loads better, and not much changed. So, let's look at the issues and address them again and see if we can do better this time around. Vikings fans, no hate. I want to see your team do better. I like Kirk Cousins. I like Dalvin Cook. I like Thielen. I like Justin Jefferson. I love the offense that you guys got going on over there, and I want to see the Vikings be successful. So, for my day 3 pick, again, we're talking defense. I'm looking at the secondary, and I have them targeting, with one of those picks in day 3, safety Brad Hawkins out of Michigan. Now, the reason I have them taking a safety, even though they just took one last season in the 4th round, is because this is more so preparation for Harrison Smith down the line, potentially retiring. He is getting older. He's obviously not getting any younger, and I'm not saying that he is declining and on his way out the door, but when it comes to good safeties, when you can get them late, never a bad idea. And a guy like Brad Hawkins, who is versatile, he can play deep, he can play in the box, he can play in the slot. He had 86 reps out of the slot this past season, 226 out of the box, and 459 deep. This is a guy you can use in multiple places on the defense. So it's not like day 1 you're trying to replace Harrison Smith with him anyways. You can figure out where does he fit best in this unit, where does he need work that we can give him some playing time at as a rotational guy and help him grow into a role and be ready in maybe 3 years or so later on towards the back end of that rookie deal where, maybe Harrison Smith opts to retire next season or the year after that, and you have somebody already growing in your system. This is a depth pick, a guy that's a look towards the future, and someone who was graded at 80.4 in coverage and 84.9 against the run D per PFF, if you like listening to those guys and their ratings there. Someone who grades out well, can play in a bunch of different places, and he's praised by everyone for his understanding of the game. He's a right place, right time, Mr. Reliable. He's always available and on the field. He has set the record for most games played by the Michigan Wolverines. This is someone you want on your team, a late day 3 guy that you can add depth to your roster and a secondary that definitely needs it. Now, there's a couple of things he needs to work on with his game. He's not Mr. Perfect. I'm not going to sell him the way I just talked about him. He sounds like he could be a day 1 guy. Technique and fundamentals, definitely not quite there yet. He's a converted wide receiver, so he's only been playing safety for a handful of years now, but being a converted wide receiver does help his game a bit. He understands what a wide receiver is looking to do. He has played the position himself, especially going deep. So this, while it's a negative now, it's a positive in the future because he wins with his brain. He's not an all-time athlete. There's a reason he's a day 3 guy. He wins with his brain and his understanding of the game. You work on his technique. He's not necessarily the best in man coverage either, but techniques and things like that, and really understanding how to play the safety position effectively and learning under a guy like Harrison Smith to gain those techniques and nuances for the position would be the best way to develop this guy. Brad Hawkins, day 3 guy, not the most pressing need on the secondary, but excellent value in day 3 if he's available for you. Moving on into day 2 now. Again, we're sticking defense here. I would like to see maybe a little bit of focus on the edge. Josh PASCHAL out of Kentucky. Getting after the quarterback, taking him down. One of the better and more surefire ways to improve a secondary without actually adding to the secondary is by improving your pass rush. PASCHAL could be that guy. Led the Power 5 with a 12.4% run stop rate, and he also paired that with a very high pass rush win rate of 16.3%. He's lined up in just about every single alignment this past season on the defensive front side, and he's praised as one of the better first steppers in the class. So his get off on the snap is excellent. This is someone that he's also had, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in the last 3 years, 4, 4, and 6 sacks this past season, a proven track record of getting after the quarterback and wreaking havoc in the backfield and doing what needs to be done to create pressure and make QBs uncomfortable. There are a few cons to his game. He really relies a little too much on the bull rush move. He needs to learn how to create more moves for himself and learning from someone like Danielle Hunter, who is an excellent pass rusher, would be a great mentor for this guy. He does lack some bend and the pliability that you need to play the edge, but even if he doesn't work out as a pure edge rusher, maybe you move him more on the inside. He's a pretty big dude. I think he weighed in at like 278, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere within that ballpark. If you need him to put on a few extra pounds to play more inside, from what I've read about him, some people believe he should probably play more inside anyways, just because he lacks that type of bend you want for a pure edge rusher. But it sounds like he can do either or. His handwork also needs a little bit of adjusting as well. But again, you have some pretty good pass rushers there for him to learn from in Minnesota already. Technique's not quite there. That's something you can teach as well. He brings the athleticism. He brings the strength. He brings the versatility and the understanding of how to rush from different alignments. This is someone you can take, and he has a proven track record of success. This is someone you can take and mold into a very effective guy and help shore up that pass rush and help out that secondary so they're not, caught on an island trying to cover for 5, 6, 7 seconds at a time. Josh PASCHAL, I like it if he's there. He's projected somewhere within rounds 2 or 3. Should be a potential pick for you guys. I would not mind seeing him go to Minnesota. Now, for the first round selection, I was trying to go after a different selection here, but when I was running through all the potentials for what Minnesota could do in round number 1, it was hard to look away from this pick. And it makes a lot of sense. With the need at cornerback for Minnesota, there needs to be an upgrade there. And at number 12, there are a handful of mock drafts that have him going at this pick. And again, I tried my best to maybe get cute and go after something else, or maybe even a different player at the same position. But cornerback Trent McDuffie from Washington just feels like a no-brainer for this team. He has some of the best acceleration in the class. He gets to his top-end speed in a hurry. He is considered the best tackling corner in the class. And while he's primarily more of an outside corner type of guy, everyone seems to be of the consensus that his skill set would work well in the slot. So he's probably someone that you could play inside or outside based off of needs early on in his career until he kind of, carves out the role that's going to work best for him, whatever they opt to do with him. I mean, his coverage grading is incredible as well. If you like to use PFF, his grading, he is no slouch in coverage. There is just so much about his tape to like. And when it comes to the cons and the negatives about him, They talk about his size and his length, but everyone praises him for playing bigger than he actually is. The lack of NFL competition is a concern for some. And I mean, he's playing, he doesn't make the schedule. He's playing who he can play. Like, it is what it is. And he showed up and did an excellent job. I want to say he allowed only 111 yards this past season through the air. That's ludicrous. All right. It doesn't matter whether you're playing elite competition or not. If you're only allowing 111 yards, you are shutting people down. His press technique is probably the only real criticism of his gameplay style that I came across with consistently. Not to say that there weren't people who picked out different things, but when I go through the draft profiles of various places, if I see something come up multiple times, that typically ends up being what I bring to you guys as a negative to his game. Press technique needs a bit of work. His footwork in the press, especially some places noted that he can get kind of caught standing still in press, and if he gets bumped off by a stronger receiver, that's going to completely throw him off the route, and it'll probably put him in a bad spot. So when it comes to what he does and his ability to shut players down and play larger than his size, Trent McDuffie just makes a lot of sense. And there have been some smaller corners in the league who are very successful at what they do. Size and length is an important thing, don't get me wrong, especially when you're talking receivers that are 6'3", 6'4", and, they're running 4.4s, maybe even 4.3s these days because, wide receivers are becoming all-world athletes, even if they're in the fourth round. So I like what Trent McDuffie brings to the table, and this is kind of a sellout pick in terms of could I have maybe picked somebody else to throw here just to be different? Sure, but Trent McDuffie just makes so much sense. The mock drafts all have him going there. The Vikings are probably I don't want to say probably. The Vikings should be looking at corner with their selection at number 12. There's a handful of really good guys that should be available within that top 15. I don't necessarily know who is exactly going to fall to him, but it seems like a lot of people feel like it'll be Trent McDuffie, and I would not be mad if I was a Vikings fan if that's who ended up there. But that is my draft preview. My Minnesota Vikings fans, again, let me know in the comment section down below who you want to see the Vikings go after in this year's NFL draft. That is it for me. I appreciate you guys for watching. I will see you all in the next draft preview. Have a good one.